we actually tested this about 2 hours before the show, and everything was fun. Everything was good. And in very classic Fantasy Insiders fashion, we start the show 5 minutes late. We don't have a link, and everything is awesome. So you know that you are for sure listening to a Fantasy Insiders product. And I don't really care if you guys can't hear David. David is muted right now, and I'm extremely okay with that happening. Evan, I'm going to throw this to you. Who are you most excited to roster this week? Because I have an answer in mind, and I want to know who you are most excited to play real American dollars on.
2 wide receivers. One, his name is Deshaun Jackson.
Okay.
And the other one is a guy that you don't like, but he's going to ball out against the Ravens. His name is Sammy Watkins.
All right. Well, I guess that's how we had to start the year.
Yeah, he didn't take it easy on us. You just
had to throw me in a bucket of ice to start the 2016 NFL year. That's kind of brutal. I mean, I 100% agree with the Deshaun Jackson play. He's going to mash. Levitan's favorite take of the preseason was that Washington is going to lead the NFL in passing attempts, and I'm co-opting that hot take from Adam Levitan. I agree. I think that offense is just going to be super pass heavy. So I'm all on board with that. Tuttle, what do you think about Watkins? What do you think about that call?
I think it's a strong call. I do like. I'm kind of, if I'm leaning for exposure in that game, I actually like LaShawn McCoy quite a bit. It's kind of a pivot from some of the higher running back ownership percentage guys. I like McCoy just because I think the volume will be there, and he'll get plenty of goal line work as well.
Hey, can I get a test 1 2 3 in? Can I get a test 1 2 3? Tuttle, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can all hear you.
We can hear you. It's the
yeah,
replay.
I'm looking for the chat. The chat is lit. Let's see. Okay, no. Keep on talking. I'll figure it out.
Yeah, you're still echoing.
Yeah. Figure it out. Well,
I mean, this is going to work out perfect for us if no one can hear Kitchen, because then we can just get all the good takes off. So this is actually amazing. Evan,
let's do a team before Kitchen can actually ruin it for us.
100%. Do you guys want to do FanDuel or DraftKings? We'll do DraftKings. That's what I have up right now. Evan, you have first pick.
Deshaun Jackson.
All right. Now, keep in mind that is not on the normal slate, but I'm in some Thursday contests, so we can do that. So Deshaun Jackson is the first pick. Tuttle, who you want?
Well, how are we going to fill out the rest of the roster now?
I mean, we are. This is a tournament team.
But I'm saying they don't even have the option of playing Sunday and Monday games.
Oh.
All they have is a Sunday. I don't like this decision, by the way.
Yeah, that's weird.
I don't like it at all.
Yeah, I'm off that.
Do you guys have FanDuel picked up? Let's just do FanDuel and play Deshaun Jackson.
I can pull it up right now.
Boom, Deshaun Jackson.
Are we stacking him with Kirk?
I'll
let Silva. Silva can decide if he wants to stack it.
I'm down. The game sets up really, really well for the Redskins passing game. I don't think they're going to be able to run the ball on the Steelers, who have a really stout defensive front. And the further back in the Steelers defense you go, the weaker they get. They are going to be using who struggled in the preseason at slot corner, Sean Davis. Their corners I think they're actually a little bit underrated, but they're not. They're not like anything to be scared about. William Gay and Ross Cockrell. They got a strong safety in there right now, Robert Golden, who started early last season and was horrible. And they have like salary cap issues, so they can't go sign like a stud strong safety. They already have like a lot of money tied up in Mike Mitchell. And they lost Bud Dupree, who was going to be a critical piece in their pass rush rotation. So the game really sets up well for Kirk Cousins to maybe push for 40 pass attempts. And Deshaun Jackson and Jordan Reed are in really, really good spots. I think that people, for some reason, do not like Deshaun Jackson. He's so underrated in season leagues, and I think that how people feel about him will spill over into the decisions that they make in Week 1 daily fantasy. He will not have high ownership, even though he's in a great spot. I also like his narrative street factor because this is a Monday night game. Deshaun Jackson had a great camp. He was healthy all camp, and this is Monday night, first game of Deshaun Jackson's contract year. So
this narrative is amazing. I'm all on board.
Good.
He is checking a lot of boxes for me, physically and emotionally.
I'm gonna play him in cash. I'm in. I'm sold.
Dude,
I'm playing him in cash.
I thought about playing him in cash. I thought about it.
What are we thinking then? FanDuel ownership percentage? What, like sub 5%?
I mean, he's $200 less than T.Y. Hilton, and he's $400 more than Moncrief, both who are going to be super piled on.
I like it.
Wasn't there a study that said contract years don't mean anything?
Who cares, David?
David, nope.
Don't care.
Don't care. All right, my pick.
That was a Fantasy Lab study. For sure.
My pick, we're taking David Johnson.
Oh, didn't see that one coming at all.
I ride with my boy. This is happening.
That was the most shocking.
The line moved. They are now touchdown favorites at home against a team that gave up the 11th most receptions to running backs last year. The Patriots have always been a defense that has allowed a ton of yardage when Belichick has been there. They have been a good defense in eliminating scoring, but they've allowed a lot of yardage. And all of the Patriots linebackers are slow. Jamie Collins does not scare me with David Johnson. David Johnson will make Jamie Collins look like a high school football player. John Brown missed a bunch of camps, so I think they're going to have some stuff installed for him to play in the slot. Evan, you can laugh all you want.
You're a wild man, dude.
David Johnson is going to crash.
Jamie Collins is the only NFL linebacker who can match Johnson in terms of athleticism.
A player does not exist that can stop DJ from doing DJ things.
I mean, I think it's a fine play, but like, don't dog Jamie Collins.
I have to. It's my brand.
Off to a slow start this show, Davis. All right, David Johnson. Who we got next?
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pick. This is one of my favorite leverage plays for GPPs this week. We're fading Spencer. We have to fade Spencer Ware here for it in our lineup, and I'm going with Travis Kelce at tight end. I know he didn't play well against the Chargers last year. It was disappointing. It's theoretically a good matchup for him. Chargers were 31st in DVOA against the tight end position last year. It's a good matchup if we're hoping that Kelce snags those touchdowns as opposed to them rushing it in with Ware. And if that happens, then we're getting a leg up on the field with Ware being like 30% owned, I think.
Oh, he'll be on FanDuel. He'll be even more so piled on, I think.
Just absolutely piled on.
The Chargers also lost Eric Weddle, who last year was Pro Football Focus number 7 overall cover safety.
I'm actually going to be on the field at this game, so I'll be there to just be, Cairo, it's lit.
Dude, if you don't go all in on Kelce, one of your favorite players, and you're going to be at the game, you got.
And I have to use Cairo in cash. I think that's just it should just go without saying.
Of course.
Yeah. All right, are we going to let David make a pick or no?
Wait, you don't want to pay up for Kicker Gronk?
Kicker Gronk is a thing. I don't know if they can hear me. I'm trying to get reacclimated with this whole software. So it was fine.
We can hear you.
I know you guys can hear me. We'll see if I have any sort of an echo. Okay. So they say the echo. Maybe it is. All right, screw it. You guys go. I'll figure this out.
Yeah, sure you will. Okay, so this is great. So we're using Travis Kelce. Evan, it's now your pick.
Ryan Matthews. I think he'll have.
Like it.
I think that. Okay, so we have. There's no buys. There's 16 games. I think that people will be players, even if they're really good plays, they'll be lower owned than people think. Because the ownership is going to be spread out. There will be a lot of new players in DFS NFL period. Just the mere fact that people talk about ownership percentage, will get some people off the chalky plays. I mean, I bet that Ryan Matthews is lower owned than people anticipate, even though he seems like chalk.
And the Browns are just so bad.
Another guy that people don't like. People
No.
do not like Ryan Matthews. You know, and he is in a pristine position in week 1.
I'm all
Are
about
the Browns like the worst collection of tacklers that professional football has ever seen? It's got to be close. Like, they're terrible. Dan?
Is it my pick?
Yeah.
All right, so what we got? Okay, so let's pencil in just to see what we have here. Let's pencil in a min-price kicker, and then what? I think we can all agree at least the chalk D is either going to be Seattle or Houston.
I like the Rams.
I like the Eagles.
Like the Eagles too.
Oh, that works.
That's a good correlation play with.
Yeah, there we go.
All right, so let's do Eagles defense at 4,800. We'll do a min-price kicker, so that gives us an average of 7,500 left at the wide receiver position.
Let's go with Dustin Hopkins. Time up with Cousins and hope they score like 38.
All right.
Boom. So you and I got to pick a wide receiver.
So we got 2 wide receivers to pick at an average of 7,500. Let's figure this out. Who do you want? I'll let you pick, Davis.
Well, my thinking is that Antonio Brown, Odell, and Julio are going to be like the way to create a contrarian lineup on FanDuel this week is to spend to get 3 mid-tier wide receivers because everyone is going to have one of the studs and a lot of rosters are going to have 2, and it's even possible to create 3. So I kind of like.
Yo, we can go Alshon, Sammy Watkins here, dude.
We could. We could.
I will say, to kind of reiterate Davis's point here, I think we're going to be unique enough already because I think spending up at running back and even spending up at quarterback is not going to be the popular move.
Yeah, I'll go Alshon and Watkins. I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with that too.
I can't start the year with like a take that could completely blow up in my face, which Baltimore's terrible. Watkins can totally have 4 catches for 120 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Well, here's the thing. The Ravens, who added Eric Weddle, who we discussed earlier, they were one of the toughest teams against opposing tight ends last year, and they added Eric Weddle. So that, I think, potentially bodes poorly for Charles Clay. And I kind of think that we know what Robert Woods is, through 3 NFL seasons, at least in the Bills offense, and he's not going to be a guy that they're trying to get the ball to. It's just the ball distribution in Buffalo this week should be very shallow, and the ball should be going to LaShawn McCoy a lot and Sammy Watkins when they drop back to pass. And if they have any problems running the football against the Ravens, who are usually a good run defending team, then Watkins' targets go up, and he is a road dog to where it's possible that the Bills face a negative game script. I mean, if the Vegas projection is right, I actually like the Bills to win this game. But I'm just saying, I think that Sammy Watkins is in a beautiful, beautiful spot. Jimmy Smith was horrible last year, and then he had another foot surgery in the offseason. And I think that they will shadow Sammy Watkins with Jimmy Smith. And if they don't, their other corner is garbage. I think it's Sharice Wright, who he's a money maker. So I love Sammy Watkins. I played him in Thursday cash.
There you go.
I like it.
All right, so the team is Kirk Cousins, Ryan Matthews. Who's this running back? Johnson? Oh, David Johnson. I have the screen pulled up because I'm going to share it. Deshaun Jackson, Alshon Jeffrey, Sammy Watkins, Travis Kelce, Dustin Hopkins, and the Eagles.
It's a good team. It's a good team.
It's pretty good.
It's not chalky by any means, but it's a good team. It's all guys in good spots that will be under-owned.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk quarterback. Are we just Dak and Cash, Evan? Is it just 100% Dak and Cash?
I think he's a great play. I mean, he's the cover boy on my article. I'm using him in some season-long leagues, but it's almost hard. I ended up paying up on Thursday for Russell Wilson in cash. I want to play Spencer Ware and Ryan Matthews at running back.
Yeah.
I want to play Julio. And I want to play Watkins. And I want to play Jordan Reed. So just the way that roster construction, it led me away from Dak on Thursday. I don't know. I may kind of try to hedge and go with Dak in my Sunday through Monday lineups. I don't know. I mean, the thing is that he's potentially like a lock to crush his salary. And I mean, if he has a big game, you're potentially in a major bind because he's going to be the highest owned quarterback, I think, on the week 1 slate.
And you're gonna run into a lot of teams that have Odell, that have Julio, that have Antonio Brown, that have one of the Detroit, Indianapolis wide receivers. Like the way my teams are currently set up on both of the sites is to include 2 of those elite wide receivers. Dan, normally you're good for a contrarian take or 2. Is this now? Dak is definitely better than when people wanted to play Sean Hill in cash.
Yeah,
remember that happened.
This is 100% better take. I'm fine with Dak and cash. I think he probably is the cash game play, but I'm also not one of the guys that are like, you have to play him in cash. I think there's reasonable arguments against him in cash. I think pace of play is obviously a huge concern. Potentially easing him in is a huge concern. We could just see Ezekiel Elliott eating this matchup and just keep feeding him the ball over and over again. He might not even get, 20, 25 pass attempts is what we're looking at. So if he doesn't provide us with any floor with his running game.
Even the Rams passed 30 times a game last year. I would be pretty surprised if he doesn't get to 28 pass attempts.
I don't know. I'd put it around 25 is what I would put for pass attempts for Dak.
That was the projection I made in this like fantasy chat I'm in, and everyone made fun of me. So I don't want to err too conservative.
What do people think he's going to fling it?
No, Empire and some other guys are telling me like every quarterback throws 30 times a game, basically.
No. I don't see it. I want a Silva take. How many times do you think Dak's going to throw the ball, Evan?
24 with 5 rushing attempts.
I said 5 rushing attempts too. I think that seems about right. But I think he's got, like a 75% chance of a rushing touchdown.
He scored
channeling the Deion Lewis.
He scored 41 rushing touchdowns in the SEC, dude.
Yeah, he's like a not as evolved, like he's a similar athlete to Cam. He's not quite as big, and he's definitely not the same type of passer. But like that's the sort of prototype. Like he is super athletic.
Yeah,
but no one is Cam Newton, but Dak is like a homeless man's Cam Newton, which is still a great player.
Yeah,
who do you guys think, regardless of price, is the best quarterback play in week 1?
Oh, dude, it might be Stafford. Regardless
of price,
mm-hmm.
It's close to me. I'd put it with 3 guys. I like. Anyway, if we're going regardless of price, I like your Russell Wilson call. I like Aaron Rodgers. I like Andrew Luck.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much, like, Luck is, like, always safe in cash, but he's always got, like, the get sacked 4 time, gets a strip fumble, like, and the Lions' defensive line is really good, and the Colts' offensive line is really bad. So, like, I'm more on the Detroit side of that game than the Indianapolis side. Like, I think all the Detroit guys, I think Theo, I think Marvin Jones, I think Golden Tate, I think Stafford, I think even Anquan Bolden is a play, because I don't think we can really overstate how bad of a football team the Indianapolis Colts are. They are the creation of someone who is completely over his head as a GM. So I'm pretty all in on the Lions this week. Evan, do you like the Lions or the Colts wide receivers more?
I think that, JJ spent like the past 3 months
Marvin Jones
about one player, Marvin Jones. He's gonna come out of week one looking real sharp.
Yeah, he's gonna look like a genius.
Yeah, I mean I think that at his price point, I think on both sites he's the best wide receiver play on the board, just relative to price.
Yeah. So on this same topic, Dan, who is the most egregious quarterback play? Like that you can reasonably make, like not like, Blaine Gabbert or whatever, but like the most egregious play that people will make.
Yeah, we kind of talked about this pre-show, and two guys that we came up with were Carson Palmer and Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah, I think those answers definitely ring true.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's going to shock people. So we got to talk about why.
Well, for Palmer, it would be they're not going to be as nearly as efficient as they were last year. Like there were games last year where Palmer was throwing 4 touchdowns in the first half and finishing with less than 250 passing yards. I think they're going to run a little bit more, and I don't think no one is going to run as good as they did on long balls. And yeah, I don't see it for his price at all. And the Steelers, then I'll let you talk about the Steelers.
Yeah, so the Steelers, they're not going to be like they used to be. Their offense is not that talented anymore. I mean, I know that they've got Ben and Antonio Brown, but if you look at their splits with and without Martavis Bryant, they're huge. They're huge. And actually, Antonio Brown has actually been more productive with Martavis Bryant on the field. The same goes for Le'Veon Bell. If you look at his splits with and without Martavis. And for Ben, I mean, it's huge. And Ben has big home road splits to where over the last 2 seasons, Ben Roethlisberger has 14 touchdowns and 14 interceptions in 16 road games. That's not good. And the Redskins, I mean, that's not even average. That's like bad quarterback play. And the Redskins, I think that they will be – sometimes we talk about funnel defenses. I think that Levitan win that term. The Redskins actually may be an inverse funnel defense where they have these stud boundary corners. They have 2 really good pass rushers in Ryan Kerrigan and Preston Smith, but they don't have a lot of strong run defenders up front. They were really weak against the run last year and really didn't do much to help their run defense in terms of offseason additions. So I think that on Pittsburgh's side in this game, D'Angelo Williams actually has the best matchup, and Ben Roethlisberger, he will have high ownership just because people love Ben Roethlisberger and they look at, the Redskins, and maybe they look at the Vegas total on the game and they're like, But I think that I think he's a donkey play this week, Ben Roethlisberger.
There we go. Any other QB takes you want to get off, Dan?
No, not really.
Okay. Moving to running back. I mean, my take here is pretty obvious. I think. Dan, are you worried? Are you worried at all that Sharkhandrick West is listed as the starter on the depth chart? I'm not.
No, I'm not.
Evan,
Not
any concern?
No, but I hope that it concerns other people.
Right.
Yeah, I am starting Sharkhandrick West in a seasonal league where I have Jamal Charles and I didn't get Spencer Ware. Evan, you're also in that league.
Oh, yeah.
Brutal. So out of the top 3 guys, I think there's kind of a tier where it's Lamar Miller, David Johnson, and Todd Gurley. Evan, who is your favorite of that group?
I mean, Gurley could light it up.
Yeah, he could smash.
My goodness gracious, man. He could go absolutely berserk. And his next 3 matchups are brutal. So in the first month of the season, this is really your opportunity to use Todd Gurley. The 49ers in their second and third preseason games, when that's when the starters play the most, they got out snapped 180 to 110. All 3 years that Chip Kelly was in Philadelphia, they ranked dead last in the NFL in time of possession. If the Rams dominate time of possession in this game, what do you think that they're going to be doing when they have the ball?
They're gonna smash the Gurley.
Putting it in Todd Gurley's belly. I mean, I think that, it still kind of scares me what happened in week 1 last year with the 49ers, and everybody's so down on them. They were actually pretty solid in defense in home games last year. They were brutal on the road. So I don't know. I mean, I'm paying down at running back like I think most people will do, but man, I want Todd Gurley GPP exposure for sure, and because he could rip it, dude. He's in a really good spot this week, I think. I mean, look, the 49ers are going to struggle to get first downs. Look at their quarterback and their wide receiver depth chart. They're going to struggle to move the ball, I think.
Who are they even starting at wide receiver?
Quentin Patton.
Torrey Smith, who had 1 target on 50 preseason snaps. And Quentin Patton, who actually at this point looks like their number 1 receiver. I mean,
seems good. seems pretty good. GM, no one's smarter than GM Chip Kelly.
I don't know if you guys read it, but Chris Brown at Smart Football, one of the sharpest football writers.
Yeah, he had a really good Chip Kelly article.
Yeah, about how just the offense is broken. That doesn't mean that they can't have one decent game here and be competitive against a bad Rams team. But I think that it looks like the Rams are going to have the ball a lot in this game. And what are they going to do when they have the ball? Give it to Ty Gurley.
Yeah. Dan, do you want to dump some cold water on the Devontae Freeman thing? Because I think he's an egregious play, so bad.
He is. He's a bad play. Just don't do it.
People want to make it. I know for a fact people want to make this play.
Well, I will say I was a little stubborn with him even last season. You eventually had to come around with him. But the end of the year last year, very inefficient running back, which is most of his career as well. There's some talk that
he smashed for 3 games last year.
Right. He had those 4 touchdown games, a couple of them.
All the weeks I faded him, he just crushed.
Which propelled his stats. But there's talk that they're going to get Coleman involved a little more. I think it's a pretty easy fade at his price tag. I'm just not touching him.
And the matchup isn't that good. Bucks were number 9 in run defense DVOA last year, and they didn't really lose anybody in their front 7. Actually added guys. Got Robert Ayers from the Giants. So not even a very good matchup for Devontae.
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you guys think of? This is one of my favorite GPP plays, just because I think he's going to get a ton of touches. Adrian Peterson.
Yeah, dude. Yes. All the Todd Gurley and Adrian Peterson in the same lineup, GPP rosters.
I'm done.
You could legitimately get 60 touches out of that combination.
Oh, okay. Let's calm it down. Let's calm it way down, dude. You weren't lying. You're bringing the fire this year, Dan. That's a Davis Maddock take.
I think 50-ish is reasonable with 60 upside. If
the games work in their favor, game script works in their favor. Yeah, I mean, I think you have a floor of you do have 60 touch upside if the game
or 40.
If the Vikings pound it against the Titans and the Rams have the ball the whole game, you could get 60 touches out of those dudes. I mean, that's not unreasonable, Davis. Adrian Peterson is old, but this is the time to play him.
I bet on the Titans as a home dog.
They're not gonna let Sean Hill out there slinging it.
Right.
I mean,
Mike Zimmer's defense is good enough to contain the Titans' rushing attack, I think. And Adrian Peterson is going to get so much work. Titans were 24th in run defense DVOA last year. Didn't really add much defensively. They lit up the preseason with their running game. I'll be very interested to see if that translates into the real games. I'm not entirely sold that it will, but I mean, I do appreciate that they have this philosophy and that they're going to pursue it. But yeah, I love AP. He's going to have low ownership.
Yeah, he is. I'm gonna put on my Bill Simmons hat real quick. The Vikings thought that this was their year. Then the whole team had to watch their quarterback go through a catastrophic knee injury. The reports were that players were puking and that they had to cancel practice. That happened like 9 days ago. And they have to go play a team at home with a lot of hype, a lot of buzz. I don't know, man. This does not feel like the spot for me.
They're gonna be jacked up to put Teddy Bridgewater on their back.
Yeah, but
I can spin this narrative against you.
If they start Sam Bradford, who wants to go to war for Sam Bradford?
Win it for Teddy.
They're starting Sean Hill. Rap sheet just reported.
All right. Well, then my bet's a little bit worse. Sean Hill is definitely better than Sam Bradford.
Because Sean Hill is more of a motivator.
No, just because Sean Hill's like Sam Bradford is terrible with months of preparation. I can't imagine how bad he would be just with like 8 plays known.
All right. Can I just butt in? I don't know if I fixed this or not, but we'll see.
Everyone says you're good now.
Gosh, that was my punishment for starting 5 minutes late, is not being able to be on the first part of the Swolecast or create lineups. Like,
thank God.
Deshaun Jackson, come on. What do you? How does Deshaun Jackson?
Oh God, yeah. I think your mic. They're saying your mic.
Oh, Tuttle, stop it! I will mute all of you guys. All right, we need to break it up a little bit. We need to break it up because as apparently my mic is fixed. Okay, so Davis Maddock, we're going to have a
collect yourself, fella.
Pockets on Swole.
You're just all over the place.
I'm so disheveled. I'm like looking at the
things he wants to say.
Like looking at the screen. I really like David Josh. I really like Todd Gurley more than Lamar. But no, as far as Davis goes, we're gonna have a Pockets on Swole challenge, and it starts with week 1. Davis, it took 24 hours. It took 24 hours for Davis to agree to this. However, Davis, we're going to give you $1,000, and you're going to play in $1,000 cash game. That means you get to pick FanDuel, DraftKings, Draft, whatever. You get to pick as far as who you play against or what competition. Maybe you can even solicit some requests from the crowd. So as far as this competition, you get to choose. It's dealer's choice, but you have to play $1,000 in a cash game, one cash game. The thing is, if you lose, there has to be repercussions because this is company funds. This is the Swolecast. Like just like analysts, when we get flack, you need to catch flack for not winning. So if you lose, you've got to cut your hair.
So brutal, dude. I haven't cut it in like 18 months.
Davis is so worried about the effect this will have on picking up girls.
I know.
I think
there could be some reverse correlation too to what he's thinking. As far as like you'll pick up even more ladies potentially, but we want you to win. And so if that wasn't enough, because Davis, at first you didn't agree, and then you basically said you're too dumb to pass up the opportunity to have $1,000. Here's the thing, though. We're going to keep this going as long as you win. And next week, we're going to have one of the Swolecast listeners compete in a contest. Again, as long as you win. And so we'll give some opportunities for people to tweet out the Swolecast, to share, whatever, and ways for them to enter. But you've got to win this week.
So we keep the $1,000 rolling is the concept?
Yeah, like we got $1,000 of petty cash, and it starts with Davis using all $1,000 of it.
No, this is not happening because I'm gonna just do it, and then I'm gonna go all in the next day, like in baseball.
Right? No, you're gonna take out the money. You're gonna practice smart bankroll management.
All in.
And if you lose,
there's gonna be a 2-game MLS slate the next day. I have to get a 1K off in.
Also, if you lose, we get to choose the barber that comes to cut your hair live on.
No, I'm going to a hair salon and I'm going to get it done right.
Swag.
All right, let's talk about some wide receivers because I need to know Evan's take.
Are we going to talk about some football?
Yes.
Don't you dare, Silva.
Evan, are you buying this bogus Odell stat that he only had 9 catches against Dallas last year? Because this is a very popular stat. But I think he's a great play.
Yeah, he's an awesome player. I mean, he ripped them up the year before. He was the weekly wide receiver 10 and wide receiver 2 against them in 2014. And Eli lit him up that year too. That's when the Cowboys were actually good. You know, Odell ripped them up. And I think the Cowboys will, for the most part, go back to being pretty good this year. They have the easiest schedule in football. And, I mean, I love Odell. I love Odell.
Tuttle?
I mean, hopefully people cling to that one stat and don't roster him because, I mean, he's a great player.
So for everybody still in baseball mode, this is like using BVP of like a 2-game sample BVP.
It's like a 4 at-bat sample.
However, there is a friend of the show, Matt Harmon, who thinks that Odell is not in his matchups column on NFL.com. He does not think that Odell is a very good play this week. He thinks he's a fade because of just the game script and not getting the number of plays that they need. So I thought that was interesting.
Again, the Cowboys led the NFL in time of possession in 2014. Play volume for the opponent was an issue then. Odell Beckham had finished as a top 10 fantasy receiver in both of his games.
He had 2 touchdowns in both games.
Yeah, he had 2 touchdowns in both games.
So
don't cling to his finishes last year.
He's my top wide receiver play.
If you're gonna use BVP at all in this game, you got to use it with Jason Witten.
He crushes the Giants.
Jason Witten has legit BVP.
And he's going to be the safety guy for Dak. Like Dak's just looking for 2 guys. You have to rank 3 wide receivers. Price doesn't matter because you've got all the studs, and because of the value plays, you can play all the studs. Tuttle, let's start with you. 1, 2, and 3. Include Monday night games and Antonio Brown for people that play on FanDuel.
Can I do 1 A, B, or 1, 2, and then 3A and 3B?
Sure.
I got Julio, Odell, and then it's Antonio Brown, and then possibly DeAndre Hopkins.
Okay,
100% agree. That's my order too.
We got a question in the chat. Yeah, did people watch the games last year? Yes. It's just Eli didn't have big games, so Odell Beckham didn't have big games.
It just happens. It's football. Sometimes,
right?
Yeah.
Evan.
Sometimes it just happens.
Top 3 this week, including Monday night's game.
Julio, Deshaun Jackson, and Sammy Watkins.
Yeah, I love it. Oh, the brand is so good.
So hot.
Are you not taking? I need you to take a stand on Antonio Brown versus Odell.
I'll go with Odell.
Okay.
Oh, it's so good. The take I need more than anything. This is a make or break take for DraftKings cash games. What does Tajay Sharp do, Evan? What do you see from him this week?
4 catches for 39 yards on 5 targets.
I'm locking him in. If he can give me 4 for 40, he's fine.
Yeah, if you can get 8 to 10 fantasy points out of him, he's okay for cash, not for tournaments, but for cash. The option.
Dez and Tajay are terrible tournament plays, like really bad.
The thing is, if you play him and Marvin Jones and Dak, then you have like just so much salary to use. How important is it, Evan, to get Marvin Jones in your lineup?
I mean, can I just say that he's an awesome play? I mean, he's an incredible play at his price.
Okay.
He was used as the Lions' number 1 wide receiver in the preseason.
Right.
He's their ex-ISO receiver. He's going to have to face off with a lot of number 1 cornerbacks this year. I'm interested to see how he does because he's never been a number 1 wide receiver before. He wasn't at Cal. He's never had over 900 yards in college or the pros. But he doesn't have to face a number 1 cornerback this week. It's gonna be a high-scoring shootout. The Lions really, they're a pass-first team. Marvin Jones is a great play. I don't know how important it is. There's a lot of great plays. Marvin Jones is one of them.
Yeah. I just want to know if you're building lineups, like where should he fall before like the top overall guy that you should put in your lineup, or do you see wide receiver depth so much from a daily fantasy perspective that you don't have to put him in? You kind of like just put whoever's left over. Tuttle, what's your take on jamming Marvin Jones in your cash lineups on either site?
I think on FanDuel the construction is a little different because
I agree.
Because running back does open up for you to spend at wide receiver. So I think you'll actually see Marvin Jones a little lower owned on FanDuel, and I don't think you have to necessarily jam him in. But I do like the idea of either spending up at quarterback or one of the running back position spots, and then playing Marvin Jones as your wide receiver 3 there. I actually think that might have a safer floor than playing like Dak and somebody in that 7K range.
Yeah. And there are a lot of guys to choose from there. I don't know. I think it's possible that Tate ends up under-owned on DraftKings because he makes lineup construction awkward on DraftKings.
He's 100% going to be under-owned just because Marvin Jones, the narrative that he's the wide receiver 1, and he's so much cheaper than Golden Tate.
I got a guaranteed touchdown this week.
Let's hear it.
Decker's going to score.
Oh, God.
Because they're going to pay a ton of attention to Brandon Marshall. They have Dre Kirkpatrick, who is a very good top corner. And I think just like last year, we're going to see another season where Decker runs like God. He's going to score 11 touchdowns on less than 100 targets again. And it's going to start hot.
Also noteworthy for them, the Bengals are going to use Darqueze Dennard at slot corner this year. And he just popped up listed as doubtful on their injury report. Eric Decker's a slot receiver in the Jets offense. So upgrade to his matchup. I really like Matt Forte.
Yeah, I like it.
Really, really like Matt Forte. No Vontaze Burfict for the Bengals. Bengals gave up like third most receptions or something like that to opposing running backs last year. And Matt Forte, in a quarter and a half, he had 12 touches in his lone preseason appearance. And I think this dude he's going to rack up so many catches this year. And the Jets placed Kyrie Robinson on IR. Some people thought that Kyrie Robinson might be a threat to Matt Forte's goal line usage. I like the Jets to win this game, too. I know everybody likes the Bengals, but I think that the Jets win this game. I think Marshall, Decker, Matt Forte will all be criminally under-owned, and I think they're all good plays.
Tuttle, what about AJ Green?
Yeah, I mean, he has like – if you were just projecting targets for the week, he's got to be in your top 5. Just straight up projecting targets, he's got to be in your top 5. No way the Bengals are running the ball on the Jets. And look at
Evan, is it a Geo week? This is for Drew.
Their pass catchers are garbage in Cincinnati beyond A.J. Green. And also A.J. Green has really good road splits too. Just a lot of reasons to like A.J. Green besides the fact, that he's facing off with Darrelle Revis, who may be washed. I mean, he looked washed in the second half of last year, and he's a year older.
Tuttle, what's your thought on the price play for A.J. Green as far as where he is comparatively speaking for like what you get for the number of targets?
I mean, I don't think you're using him in cash, so I'm not too worried about it. But I think that he's a very interesting tournament option because and I'm definitely going to have some exposure to him in tournaments because his target projection is so high.
Davis probably projects similarly to like DeAndre Hopkins and Alshon Jeffries in terms of targets. Do you think?
You know who's going to lead the NFL in targets after week 1? Jarvis Landry.
Yeah.
Jarvis Landry might get 21 targets for 37 yards this week.
And people think that Sherman's going to cover him, and he's not.
I mean, Sherman is I would give that edge to Landry anyways. But it's a bad matchup for him.
He's not going to cover him. Different sides of the field.
Yeah, I like the idea of Russell Wilson plus Doug Baldwin and then coming back with Jarvis Landry on the same team on DraftKings.
Let's talk about this Colts wide receiver situation because people are torn, kind of like the Lions, between Moncrief and T.Y. Hilton. Tuttle, where are you?
I mean, there's a significant enough difference in pricing on FanDuel. I mean, it's not huge, but I'm just going to side with the lower owned or lower priced Moncrief. I think they project similarly, so I'm going to go with the lower priced player. Is pretty much my take on it.
Davis?
I mean, I like Hilton more because I think that NFL coaches now realize that Moncrief is the better player, and therefore Moncrief is going to see more time with Slay, who I think is pretty good.
Evan?
What was the question?
Moncrief or T.Y. Hilton? Marshawn Lynch not expected back until week 4 or week 5 this season, so we're good.
We got some news. Rob Gronkowski did not make the trip to Arizona, although I'm not ready to rule him out yet. We'll see. He just wasn't on the initial team flight. We'll see how that goes. And Christian Michael is expected to
Starter now. Yeah,
I want to touch on him because I think he's a good play.
Yeah,
he's going to open up so much on FanDuel. He's going to make FanDuel just like so chalky.
Would you play C Mike in cash?
Yeah, possibly.
I think you can.
Yeah,
he's better on FanDuel.
Is he a better play than Spencer Ware or Ryan Matthews?
Yes,
Matthews. Yeah.
Really? Yeah.
I don't think he is, but I think I like Matthews more than him. But obviously, there's a $1,300 difference between the two. Not that you actually need the money though. So I mean, on a different week where the $1,300 actually meant something, I would say maybe go Michael over Matthews, but the $1,300 is not going to do anything for you on FanDuel this week. So I'd play Matthews still over Michael.
Yeah. The contrarian thing is just going to be paying up for the 2 top running backs in David Johnson and Gurley. And just getting some wide receivers in good spots.
Nobody's going to have the high-priced running backs.
Evan, where are you as far as this Colts wide receiver situation for week 1?
I mean, I think they're about even. I slightly prefer Hilton, but I like them both.
So I'm assuming you wouldn't pay $1,500 more for Hilton on DraftKings then? Because there's a $1,500 difference.
I mean, maybe to be contrarian, I think that Moncrief will have more ownership.
Yeah, because of that.
More people talking about him too. More people talking about him too, and the price tag. And Hilton has great home splits. Just whenever you always want, whenever you can get him at home or in a dome, you want to play T.Y. Hilton. And I don't know what the Lions are going to do with Slay. But I agree with Davis that if they're going to use him to shadow, I think that it's slightly more likely that he would be on Moncrief just because he's a big corner and Moncrief is big too.
Yeah. So now with this Gronk news, do you think that Martellus is maybe a cash play, Dan?
The black unicorn?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I wouldn't do it.
No. You know who's going to get 1 million targets in this game is James White.
David Johnson.
James?
Or DJ Foster.
Or DJ Foster. Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, Field Yates, who used to be a
Patriots beat reporter.
I think he worked for the team, actually.
Yeah.
I saw him grab DJ Foster in a season-long league. FWIW.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, like, people are like, James White, like, he's gonna mash, like, nah, you can't. You gotta let Belichick show you something before you make that.
Oh, how funny that Davis is now saying that you gotta let Belichick show you something. Last year it was,
and Belichick showed us that he loved Deion Lewis, and I was right. So let it go to rest. You were wrong. I was right.
He changes every year. Like you can't.
Hey, I won, David. I won.
You didn't
let it go to bed
because Blunt had a game. Blunt still had a game.
Thinking.
Forward thinking. I was right. Let's move on. We got to talk tight ends.
All right. Before we leave wide receivers.
One more thing on James White.
Yeah.
One more thing. The Cardinals have a super stout defensive front, and they led the NFL in blitz frequency last year. One of the ways that offenses look to beat the blitz is screen passes, which is really all that Jimmy Garoppolo can complete anyway. So I don't like Jimmy. I don't really like James White as a player, but I think he's squarely in play on DraftKings, and I think he's super cheap there too.
He is
3,700. All right, tight end. The tight end spots. Now you've got Bennett up there with Kobe Fleener on FanDuel as a potential chalky option, or on DraftKings as Dwayne Allen, who I think most people think is the chalky option. Tuttle, we'll start with you as far as where are you going with this Gronk news?
Yeah, I'm not letting that affect, I think, my taking away from Dwayne Allen or Kobe Fleener. I think those guys are obviously the two chalky guys at tight end, and I don't think the news affects that really at all. There are some, I think, fine GPP pivots off those guys. You can look at a guy like Jared Cook, who's similar price as those two. Vance McDonald is a preseason favorite of everybody. Clive Walford has been getting the targets there for Oakland. Has a good matchup. I think you could pivot off to him in GPPs as well. But I think the move is clearly to save at the position, unless you want to go with Jordan Reed.
Ooh. Yeah, I was making lineups, and there was a few lineups that I was like off a couple $100 in, and the guy that was fitting in there is Vance McDonald. Like,
hey, you know who JJ and Reeves really like, and JJ and Reeves are two of the best analysts that there are, is Jesse James, who is the
hard agree.
Stone Min on FD.
And Marcus Wheaton is now potentially not going to play, which means more targets for him.
Yeah, and in the third preseason game, the regular season dress rehearsal, Ben played 2 drives, and Jesse James saw, I think, 5 targets.
And he was the red zone target. Yeah,
caught all 5 for 25 yards and a touchdown. I mean, dude is 6'7".
Yeah.
You know John Moore from RotoViz, I guess he's with PFF now. He actually kind of liked Jesse James as like an age-adjusted prospect coming out of Penn State. He's a good athlete. He's got a really good athletic profile. And Stone Min on FanDuel in a potentially high-scoring game where the Redskins have great boundary corners, but not a whole lot up the middle. They got smashed pretty good by tight ends last year, and just not really anything that suggests that will change. So I think Jesse James is a sweet play this week.
And it's a Monday night game, which Tuttle loves. Yeah. He loves playing the Monday night game.
Those prime time, baby.
Prime time.
That's the trademark David Kitchen thing. Is like if you're trying to find a tiebreaker, just pick the Monday night.
Oh, 100%.
That's classic David Kitchen.
It's going to be Djax and Jesse James just trading blows.
I think I might want to play.
There's your game stack right there.
Oh yeah, dude.
I think I kind of want to play Jesse James in cash now.
Reeves and JJ love him, and Reeves and JJ don't miss very often.
Who is the?
This is so good.
Who was it? Logan Paulson last year? No. Who is the tight end for the Redskins that we were all about? Caught 1 catch for a touchdown. That's what it feels like this could be. Justin Bailey was all over him. Used to play for the Niners. Carrier, Derek Carrier. That's who it was.
Derek Carrier.
Well, that was a horrible play.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
But they've got to throw the ball to somebody. So, did you guys talk about D'Angelo Williams while I was having my Echo Fest?
No.
Because
we talked about him a little bit. I think that the Redskins might be kind of an inverse funnel D this year, where they're really like surprisingly stout against the pass, but they're pretty soft as a run defending team.
I'm using Jesse James in this 1K head-to-head that I play.
Okay.
This is going to happen.
Tipping your hand early, but okay. I mean, if Condia played Virgil Green in Thursday night cash contest, then you can play Jesse James in your cash contest.
Don't see why I wouldn't.
All right. We've already created the teams, both teams for FanDuel and DraftKings.
Just FanDuel.
Just FanDuel. All right. Let's create one for DraftKings, and we'll sign off, call it a day.
All right.
Tuttle, you start off.
I get to start us off, huh?
Yep, and we're doing if we're doing the DraftKings slate, we're doing just the
Sunday only.
Sunday,
Yep, Sunday
only. I think Davis was saying that Monday wasn't included on FanDuel, and it is earlier. So
I'm gonna go ahead and do a homer pick and go with Rodgers.
I hate Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, I mean you're gonna get him pretty low owned.
yep.
It sets up well too. What Jacksonville's better against the run. Not that we're too worried about Eddie Lacy going off, anyways. But
Yeah, he will not be. He will definitely not be piled on. All right, who you taking, Evan?
Let's go Randall Cobb.
There goes my Jared Cook stack. Tuttle.
We can put Jared Cook too. If Rodgers throws 4, we're sitting pretty.
Tuttle.
I already
Tuttle
picked,
made-
I picked
Tuttle made
Rodgers.
first pick.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Davis.
take Doug Martin, who I think no one is talking about. He's not a cash play because he's
Dude.
not a cash play. But if you want to talk about a dude who can score 2 touchdowns and not be owned, Doug
Yeah.
Martin is that guy.
Doug
Falcons,
Martin in a PPR site. Good call.
we're making a tournament roster. I love it when you guys hate it. When you guys hate it, you just lock in the 2 touchdown game.
Davis is just the worst.
No way I'm using this lineup.
The
No.
Falcons are terrible. The Falcons are so bad.
So bad.
They're so bad.
So bad. All right. I'm going to go with, since people are going to be paying up or paying down rather for running back, I'm going to pay up and go with David Johnson.
The chat does not understand this 9th level take. They don't get
it's
it.
bad. Like you just ruined our team. Go ahead, Evan.
This team's
Or
ruined.
I know
No,
Tuttle.
This is at least 4th level good.
Tuttle, you're up.
I'll go with the double stack and Jared Cook to save us a little money.
All right, Evan.
I keep trying to get in Deshaun Jackson, but he's not even available in this slate.
He's not.
Let's go with let's bring it back with Allen Robinson.
So we're going all in on this game.
Game stack, I like it.
All right, so we have to play Tajay Sharp then because we only have 9K left.
No, dude.
We have to. This is your doing.
There's no other minimum salary
This
guys.
is your doing, man.
All right, I'll bring my.
Either that or we go with Shard Matthews.
Let's go Matt Forte in the flex.
Okay.
Gosh, this team is all sorts of bad.
Oh man. Oh dude, I got another hot take. I love it. Philip Dorsett. Philip Dorsett will play in this game as the Colts' 3rd wide receiver. Everyone is all over this game, but Dorsett is going to be like unowned. And now, don't get me wrong, I think Dorsett is a bad player, but they drafted him in the 1st round, and he is going to 100% get targets, and he's the only part of this game you're going to get unowned.
But he has no chance to like catch a lot of balls.
Right. Like you might as well just
It's a
get Tajay
GPP.
Sharp.
You need a long touchdown.
He's 4,500. He's not even cheap.
He might be legitimately less than 1% on in the highest scoring game of the week.
So why don't you choose like Anquan Bolden? Like if going on the opposite side, someone that can
Anquan Bolden is very off-brand for me. Anquan Bolden is very off-brand. I'm trying to stick on-brand.
Bolden's too old for Davis.
Bolden is like, my rule in fantasy football is to not play anyone older than David Kitchen. That's the rule.
I just want to throw this out before we finish the team. Nobody play this lineup. It's
No,
terrible.
don't. You know, this is why we get Davis. This is why we get tweets like, "Nice lineup. I didn't even cash."
I played this in a cash game and I lost.
You just got to listen to the reasoning. All of the reasoning for these picks are good.
Somehow this
Yours.
is my fault for being in on this lineup. Like if I wasn't in the lineup, Davis wouldn't have tanked it so hard.
I would have just chalked it. No one wants that. No one wants the chalkmatic. That's not why they're tuning in.
All right, we'll go cheap defense, even though there might be the worst defense in the league. We'll go Browns at 2,300 against.
I was
Philly.
going to say I was going to say Titans.
We are not playing the Browns.
Yeah, Titans D.
Fantasy.
This is just a mess.
Titans defense is the play.
Titans defense. We've got 4,100 left for a wide receiver. So you've got your boy Andre Johnson, Davis. This is bad. This is really bad.
Boyd.
Will Fuller. Yeah. Will Fuller. Come on. 3,700.
Sure.
Evan likes Will Fuller.
This team is so. This might be like a bottom 2% team.
Will Fuller's going to be the highest scoring guy on this team.
He might be. That's saying something. He's so bad. We're gonna have to talk. We're gonna have to talk off air about these teams being so terrible. All right, that will do it for the show.
I'm already interacting with the chat. This is bad.
Playing this in all my cash games.
No, don't. People, please do not play this game at all. Do not.
I wouldn't even play this in the GPP, to be honest.
Don't.
This is gonna win the Million Maker. I hope everyone can S my D.
Okay. I told you couldn't cuss, but I guess SMD is not cussing. So on me, it's something Maddox Davis, I guess. As far as the Swolecast crew, you can read Evan's weekly matchups column on rotoworld.com. Davis has his automatic absolutes there on fantasyinsiders.com. Tuttle's got a pretty fun column this year. What is it called, Tuttle? I just know
Tuttle's Takes.
Tuttle's Takes. There you go. And you can also listen to the Insiders Fantasy Football Podcast with Davis and I, and the SiriusXM Fantasy Insiders Show, midnight to 2 a.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday, with myself and Dave Loughran. All right, that will do it. We will see you next week, week 2. I can't promise it'll be any better, but it can't get any worse.
People are so mad in the chat. They're so mad. I feed it. I feed off of your anger.
I don't understand why you do it. I don't understand why you you pick terrible people just to piss people off.
No, Dorsett is a good tournament play.
You literally picked Doug Martin and Philip Dorsett. That literally happened.
It happened.
I completely stand by those two for tournaments.
Okay, so we won't give you $1,000 then. We'll just do, if these guys don't score in double digits, you've got to cut your hair.
I mean, I'm not guaranteeing them scoring in double digits. I'm saying their range of outcomes, their bell curve is terrible, but the high end is like a 1%.
No, Philip Dorsett's
great game.
No, Philip Dorsett's range of outcome is not that high comparatively speaking to his price at $4,500.
Hey, David, try watching the games.
Wow.
Well, and now we've come full circle.
Got him.
Now we've come full circle. I wouldn't mind for Dorsett at $3K. I wouldn't. But at $4,500, it's a pretty.
If he was at $3K, he'd be piled on.
No one's piling on him regardless if he's $3K or not.
Philip Dorsett is a better play at $3K than Tajay Sharp.
Okay, I don't want to talk about Philip Dorsett anymore.
Yeah, that will do it. Thanks to Draft. Go to playdraft.com/insiders. Go to fantasyinsiders.com/plans to get in the platinum chat. It's where all the fun's at. Lots of good takes, better takes than Philip Dorsett in a tournament team. And on that note, we'll see you later.